talking about Nokia today. You know that bulletproof phone? Well, that's no longer there, but Nokia is back, baby. We'll talk about that and many other things, along with the sports, on the Rebel's Edge. Here we go again, and I apologize. Yesterday, I did not introduce this gentleman next to me here, this Jared guy. You know what? John was gone. We were moving around. We were shifting around, and I just, you know what? Didn't do it. But this is Jared, also known as Producer Jared. And you talk about a guy who's doing a lot of things at once. He's doing everything on the production side, and he's part of this whole thing. So should be pretty fun. Great to have you again, Jared. It's good to see you, man.
Thanks for having me on. Yeah. I mean, I'm here every day behind the scenes, but it's fun to be in front of the camera for once or twice.
Well, let's jump into macro right away. I mean, what I'm not concerned about is this. I like markets when we continue to have a rotation of what the leadership is. Now, leadership certainly is still technology, but they're not the only leader that we are seeing right now. And I think that's a big deal. I think the fact that we go to healthcare, we go to industrials, we go to the financials. And by the way, the financials, they're going to kick off in less than 2 weeks in terms of the earnings season kicking off again. So I'm looking forward to that. And we're seeing a lot of different moves today, but the moves generally are up, 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 and up in terms of the Nasdaq and the Dow. Record highs, you know what? Record highs are made to be broken, and they're broken on, seems like, almost every day.
Yeah. You know, like it's great to have big movers in tech. You know, that's where we like to make money with leverage and options. But how is the rotation changing how you're trading, Pete?
Yeah, it's a matter of just seeing where the rotations are going and trying to get on top of it as fast as possible, whether it's energy one day and, you know, the next day it could be financials, 2 days later it could be the industrials. So just trying to stay up with whatever is going to be the leadership. And obviously technology, it can pull the markets down, sure, but that does sometimes create some a little bit more of an opportunity along the way as well. So excited about what we're seeing right now. And again, today's rotation is another good one, but that doesn't mean technology is not coming up and sprinting to the upside, because technology, it is.
All right. What are you seeing in the VIX?
Yeah, the volatility index is certainly telling us a lot about the nervousness or lack thereof right now that we are seeing. And we see that in the form of crude oil. It was 112 not that terribly long ago. It was 108 back in May. And here we are today trading in the 70s, 77, something like that. So that's coming down. Volatility is coming down. Volatility was up there, and they were following each other around. Well, volatility is starting to sink. And here we are in the low 16s right now. So 16 to 17, that's kind of the range that we're in right now. It's probably a good range, and I think pretty accurate. It might even be a little high. We might see this thing get a little bit lower and break through 16 today.
Right on. All right. So you wanted to bring back Nebius, which we talked about yesterday. What are you seeing there?
You know, Nebius is a very interesting company. You know, we talk about the full stack infrastructure, the AI, all of that. And of course, you know, a lot of people have been, you know, negative on AI for almost the better part of a year now. And yet AI, yes, it takes some dips. Yes, they can pull back, but then all of a sudden it just starts screaming back to the upside. Nebius did that yesterday. We had some unusual option activity in there that we referenced yesterday. It's just absolutely flying today. So it's near its all-time highs of 299. It hit 290 today before it pulled back just a little bit. We talked yesterday, massive backlog in the data centers, compute contracts with Microsoft and with Meta. And there you can see some of the buying yesterday. Seemed ridiculous, right? You're going out to July and you're buying the 350s. The stock is just trading just north of 250. Well, getting all the way up into the 290s. Those options yesterday that were $1.70, today, 450. And that's what we're looking for. We're looking for those kinds of trades where if we can see that in that unusual option activity, and you can see it hits, and now all of a sudden this one, a very good home run for a lot of folks. So very impressive on what's going on with Nebius right now.
So do you think that UOA hit from yesterday, the July 350, July 350s, do you think that that's juiced, or do you think it's still got more to go?
I think it still could have some. I think if anybody was fortunate enough to follow along with that trade, you probably need to be very smart and disciplined to take at least something off of the trade. But that's not for me to say. Everybody's got their own techniques and what they want to do and how they want to, buy something, sell something, all the rest of it. We're just pointing out the fact that this thing is on fire, and this move happened just amazingly quick from yesterday to today. Just absolutely incredible. So as we follow along with this one, I think that it's another good example of what we're seeing in the markets today, where we're still seeing technology, we're still seeing some AI, but like I said, there is a little bit of a rotation going on in some of the other sectors as well.
All right, so I got really excited about this next one because I have like a kind of an ironic nostalgia for the Nokia, the unbreakable phone from back in the day. I'm honestly a little bit surprised that this one's never gotten the meme stock treatment because of the bricks that they used to sell us. That just we retired them because we were getting smartphones, not because they stopped working. So what's going on with Nokia?
You know what? Yesterday we saw some unusual option activity in there. Today there's still more. It's interesting to see that Nokia, is even alive again. And part of the reason that it is, and we've talked about this not too terribly long ago, a few weeks ago, but the partnership that they've got now with Nvidia is also a big deal. It's $1 billion big deal. So it's something that I think is really interesting. I think we should all be keeping an eye on both BlackBerry and Nokia, because they were stocks from the past that were kind of given up for dead. They're not dead. They're making a move. And, it's been a very, very interesting, sort of a ramp to the upside that we have seen. It really started to sprint, going back with BlackBerry back there in April and then in May. And then it started kind of collapsed. You can see that big move that it made towards the very end of May, getting into June. It was all the way up there towards 16, 17 bucks a share, pulled back. All of a sudden, there was no options being bought again. Well, now all of a sudden, we're starting to see options come back into Nokia, both on the short term and the longer term options. Very, very interesting to see that it's coming to alive again, along with BlackBerry.
Yeah, and it's another one of those AI picks and shovels kinds of plays, right? Like the connectivity between the AI chips and so forth. And honestly, I hope I know that they've licensed their phone manufacturing to another company. They still call them Nokias, but it's not really a Nokia product. I think it would be cool if that one day could come back in house and we could get like a premium smartphone version of something like what we used to have.
And people, by the way, people used to sit there and say, you know what, there's no way Nokia is going to be lost in this whole thing with smartphones because, people really like how to type and all the rest of that. Well, they might have liked it, but I think they liked the smartphones a little bit more because that was sort of what became the end for Nokia. But it's still been around. It's still moving. And then, like we were just talking about, quite a deal that they've decided to jump into with Nvidia. So that's been a pretty good savior as well.
Yeah, definitely. Okay, so we've got another picks and shovels play with Marvell. What's going on here?
Yeah, Marvell's another interesting one. It's been pressing on that 300 level. It's been very, very impressive. The 52-week high is a little bit higher than that. Call it almost 330. Like we said, tech-led rallies are still there. I'm not saying technology's gone and it's sort of rolled away, but we're talking about where are we seeing some of the movement to other sectors. Well, we're seeing that happening with healthcare. We're seeing that happening with some of the industrials. We're seeing that happening in a lot of different places. But as you know, and you've probably heard me talk about this, but you know what? One of my all-time favorite run-ins right now in terms of AI. What's the best AI in my opinion? I'm going to still say Caterpillar.
Caterpillar, yeah.
You want to talk about picks and shovels, but anyway,
right.
Marvell's another one of these data infrastructure. They're very strong. They took a big hit not long ago. They've come back very, very rapidly. So, is there certain names out there that I think still have some fuel in the tank to go a little bit higher? I like what we're seeing out of Marvell today and what we've seen in a little bit of a comeback after it sold off.
Let's move to sports. So you've got Demario Davis going to the Jets this year. What do you think?
He's been at so many teams in his career, and a lot of that has to do with not that he's a not a good player. He's a fantastic player, but people wanted to have him. And he's kind of found the fountain of youth. And what do I mean by that? He actually is one of these guys who's actually figured out, hey, look, if I'm going to be in professional sports, I've got to invest in my body. I've got to invest in my mental side as well as my physical side. And it's pretty interesting. He's a 37-year-old linebacker. That's amazing, guys. I mean, anybody who can get there, you know, you start hitting 30, Jared, you're getting close to going, see you later. But especially at that position, because, you know, you're in the thick of things on every single play. A linebacker is a guy who he's got to stop the run. He's got to get in there for the pass. He's got to run these guys. He's got to do, sometimes he's doing special teams, all of that. And this guy figured out, you know what? I've got to invest in my body because it's getting beat up. And if I don't, I'm not going to last more than a couple of years. Well, he's not only lasted a couple of years at 37 years old, but he's got 227 games that he has played in. So if you look at that, he is in the top 10 of linebackers all time in terms of the amount of games that he's played. So pretty incredible. He's had over 1,000 snaps. He's had, you know, he's in that top 10 level. It's amazing. He's gone into this caveman diet and so forth as well. And in the offseason, that's where he eats better. He works out harder. He does all of this type of thing. And how does he do that? He invests in himself. This is something guys like Aaron Rodgers do as well. So when you say, hey, Aaron Rodgers is getting pretty old, maybe he's a little bit old, but you know what? Because of how he's treated his body over all these years, he has done a magnificent job of still being a pretty youthful looking guy when he's out on the field. And it's different as a quarterback. It's a lot easier as a quarterback. Yes, you get hits, you get sacks and all the rest of it. But when you're a middle linebacker like Demario Davis, this guy's special, man. It's especially the fact that not only has he played all those games, but he's been healthy for a really, really long time because of that investment. So we talk about investments all the time. We're talking about the stock market. This guy's investing in his body, and it's paying off because when you're a player and you're playing, you're getting $1 million a year is what you allocate over to pay for all everything you're doing for your body to be physically there. You can afford to do that too, which is kind of nice. That's the good thing about professional sports. I mean, you know, I don't know exactly where his contract is right now, but as many years as he's been in the league, he's got to be making what? North of 8, 10, 12, 15 million bucks or something like that. So the investment makes a lot of sense. Here's one that doesn't make any sense for you because you and I are, you know, we talk a little sports here and there, but you're a little less on the sports side. But I will say this, the NBA, you know a lot of these players. What the Golden State Warriors are at least attempting or saying they're thinking about doing is extraordinarily odd to me, Jared. And here's why. So they've decided that they're going to sign a couple of the guys that were already there and then bring in a couple of other guys, bring in LeBron James. Here's the thing that's interesting. I don't like what I see when I look at their, you know, great players of the past, really good players, maybe good players now, but Porzingis is a 30-year-old. That's not too bad. Horford's 40. Draymond Green is 36. Steph Curry is 38. Jimmy Butler's 36. LeBron James is 41. And Anthony Davis is 33. Anthony Davis is a very tall man, too. When you're tall, those years start to really stack up even more because you're running up and down on the hardwood floors and everything, man. It's bad on the back. It's bad on a lot of things. These guys, what I don't understand is why are they going after all of these older gentlemen, right? I mean, granted, great players. They were great players. Are they still great players? Do they have the ability to play in enough games? I mean, I just rattled off the ages, Jared. I mean, I think you're younger than most of those guys. Is that right?
No. I'm actually older than all of them, but you know, it gives me some hope that my NBA career isn't over yet either.
Yeah, you've gone through a lot of things, haven't you? Well, you know what? It's just kind of a crazy thing, and I'm shocked that they're willing to even think about doing this. To be honest with you, because you know some of these guys aren't even on the team right now, but they're talking about signing them, and you know that's a lot of guys over the age of 30 and 35, and you know one or two guys 40 or more. So. I just look at it as a little bit crazy, and I think it's a mistake. I mean, Steph Curry can still do it. He's a lot smaller guy, and he can still do it. He's 38, probably physically he's closer to 34 because he does that type of thing with his body. So interesting, but do you really want to put all those old guys out on the court at the same time? I don't think so.
All right. Well, we're going to be back tomorrow again at 1 p.m. Eastern time, Rebels, hopefully with John and Pete. But we'll see. Happy trading, and we'll see you tomorrow at 1.